slowly crept into the sky. It filled the morning air with warmth and life.
Hey everyone, welcome back onto my channel, or welcome back to another financial budget video. Something that I am finding is I'm still not perfect with my money, and I really want to make this video to share some of the things that I'm trying to implement to hopefully help somebody else that is also on a really low income and also really struggles with budget. And even if you do really well with budget and you know this might be a video where you can learn something new. I don't know. If you have not seen my face before, hi, my name is Rebecca. I am 30 years old. I'm a mum to a special needs child. I have special needs of my own. I live in Australia. I'm on Centrelink. I've been on Centrelink for many years, since I was probably, I think, 19. And I'm now 30, obviously, so a very long time. I was on disability for the majority of, my financial sort of journey. I was working on and off briefly over the years. Brief backstory, I worked at Subway for 2.5 years. I'm very much like hopped from job to job, and then I've studied quite a lot. I studied mostly in my 20s. I've got a background of advanced diploma of interior design. I've done 2 and 3 in business. I've just got a lot of tools in my belt, and I've been able to bring that to my YouTube content. I've been doing this on and off for many years now. It may not seem like that to some of you if you're new. I've gone through a lot of phases with this channel, so I feel like I finally found my groove. I finally found my spot where I feel most comfortable in, where I fit in, I feel like. And I really just want to share my personal experience, my journey with money. If you're interested, I do have monthly reset videos. I am planning to do one for this coming October, November. While you're here, if you do enjoy content like this, please consider subscribing. It would really help the channel out. I've just hit 300 subs, which is incredible. Super thankful for all of you for continuing to watch my little part of the internet. So here we are on my 2025 budget. I use the Code Plenty. I think it's yearly 2.0, I believe, the spreadsheet. I personally really do like using this. I don't think I've perfected it. I think that there's still a lot that I need to learn on how to track through this app, but I'll learn that as I go. And if you have any tips, if you see something in this video that's like, oh, like there needs to be a bit of a fix up there, then please let me know. Give me constructive criticism on how to use the tracking system in this. But either way, I'll just learn along the way. So this is just a very brief preview of October. This is not a typical month. I usually get 2 payments in a month. This month I got 3, and I decided to spend a little overboard for me. You may look at this and go like, oh, that's fine. But for me, in my typical spending habits, it is unusual. However, the biggest purchase that I made this month is a one-off payment. I will obviously go more in depth with all of this in my November reset. I usually go back through October, pros and cons of that, and then budget for November. Being on Centrelink, I only get paid fortnightly, and that's it. You can possibly get paid weekly. I have had that before, but that's kind of tricky to get sometimes. But I've even looked at getting paid monthly, but that's not possible with Centrelink, so it is what it is. But yeah, I just kind of wanted to go through my process of how I set up a budget. So typically, before I even go to the tracking system with this on my computer, I will typically go into my notes app and I will map out how much I'm getting, and I'll also map out like what goes where, what I need to pay, etc. And then I'll start tracking it in this. And I was a little bit backwards because they're like, you have a tracking app, why are you not using it? But I do find on my phone it's a lot more portable, and it's simple and quick for me to just jump in, because quite often I found when I set a budget in like my monthly reset videos, not long after that I do quite often, right up until I get paid, I do quite often have to go back in and adjust, so something else has had to come out that I didn't budget for at the time, so I've got to adjust that and reimburse that kind of thing. So even though what you see in the monthly videos is my intention, quite often it does change throughout that month and throughout the paycheck. So that's why I do tend to start with just the regular notes app, so that I can adjust quickly when I need to, and then I adjust that in the spreadsheet. So again, I'm still trying to learn how to use this spreadsheet. It can be a little tricky because this is monthly based and I get paid fortnightly, so it can be a little bit tricky for me to track, but I still do my best with it. Let me know down below if you have any tips on how to best track it each month when you do get paid weekly or fortnightly. I just do it with the way that it's shown here, but because everything comes out at different times of the month, like I do come back in quite often. So typically once I have set up budgets in both areas that I use, I will typically then go through my bank and auto transfer whatever I need to. That's quite often, I also have different accounts for different things. Like I have a bills account, I have a bunch of like line item savings accounts that I use. I'm not perfect at utilising them, but I do try to utilise them when I can and when I can budget for it. As you can see, like I got paid like just over, I think it's just over $3,500, which is not, like I said, it's not a typical month. I usually get, so here we've got for November, my minimum monthly is like $2,400 right now because I am on Centrelink. By the way, at the moment I get partner parenting payment, family tax A and B, and I also get rent assistance as well. My partner also gets carers payment and allowance for our daughter. I used to be on carers payment for her, but things started happening with my own disability that I was no longer able to care for her full time on my own. So that's kind of the situation, and the reason why I don't have his payments in any of the budgeting things that I use, because in my eyes, we are currently not married, so we don't need to join finances at all. We really do check in with each other and say like, hey, I've just paid for this, and I have this to pay, and we do kind of share a little bit of that, but for most part with like fund spending and stuff, it's all separate. We still tell each other just to keep that transparency between us, especially about money, because I know statistically, like, money is something that couples do fight about. I don't think we've ever fought really about money, even though we are very, very low income earners, at least at this point in our lives. We've never really fought about money. We just don't feel the need to. I can only speak for myself, but I'm someone that's very like analytical about my money. I'm horrible with numbers, so he is someone that I go to with like any sort of calculations that I might need help with. But at least for me, I'm very analytical on how much I get, where it goes, how much I'm able to spend, and that changes constantly. How I budget, so yeah, I auto transfer, and again, sometimes that changes depending on, like, if I suddenly want, okay, I don't want $50 in takeaway, I actually want it in clothes so that I can buy my daughter clothes, or if I need clothes, then I just change the auto transfer, Like I said, I have my main accounts that I get everything put into. My Centrelink comes into that account, and then I have like, I think 4 or 5 different savings accounts, and then a bills account as well. Yeah, so look, I'm not perfect with budgeting. I still mess up here and there with little purchases here and there. So yeah, I don't know if this video seems all scrambled and all over the place. It feels like it, but I'm hoping I can, compound and like edit it to help it make sense. My kind of goal and intention for this channel and the videos that I do is really just to share my experience, but also to try and help others where I can, where I feel like I can. I'm not a money expert, I'm not a financial guru, it's just personal experience, and then also to like open the stage for everybody else to help everybody, whether it's tips for me or tips for anybody else, and to just have relatability, because I do find like some creators earn a crap ton more than I do, and they're putting $1 to $2 in per week, Not that I think of that as like unrelatable or out of touch or anything like that, it's just not where I'm at in life. So I think I really want to focus on the low income earners like myself, because there isn't a lot of us out there that are making these sorts of videos, especially with finances and especially with budgeting. And I feel like at any point of your income or financial journey, like, we all need a budget, no matter what income we're earning. I think it's important to share that perspective as well. Like, not everybody has a really high income, or even an average income. I am below average, and I want to share my journey, and I want to be open, and I want this space to be a very safe place. I don't want any negativity. I hope you got something out of this video. If you did, let me know down below, and hope you're doing well, stay safe, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!